Hi everyone. In this chapter, or sorry, in this video, we are going to be talking about string methods or string manipulation methods. Now, all these methods belong to a class called str. You're aware of a class called str. When we said in the earlier chapters that when I say s is equal to hello, s becomes an object of a class called str. So if you typed print type s, it would give you class str. So all these methods that we are going to discuss today are all belonging to a class called str. And how do you access these methods? Before I tell you the various methods and how you will be using them, I need to be telling you how will you be accessing all these methods. So the format of accessing all these methods is as follows. You will be writing the string or the string variable, whatever it is, dot, the name of the method that you want to call, and if the method takes any parameter, then the parameter. So this is the format of, using any of the functions that we are going to learn today. The string, either the raw string or the string variable, dot, the name of the method, the 15 or 16 methods that we are going to learn. And if the method requires any data, then that data or parameters you will specify in round brackets. Is that clear? Okay, so let's continue, or let's start with our first method. My first method is the capitalize method. Now, what does the capitalize method do? It converts the first character of the string. It converts the first character of the string to uppercase and all the others to lower, and all the others to lower. What do I mean by that? Suppose I have a string, hello there. Now can you see T is in capital, rest everything in small. What will the capitalize function do? It will capitalize the first character of the string. What's the first character of the string? H. And all the others it will make to lowercase. So your output is going to look like something that you see on screen. So did you see how did we call the function? We wrote the name of the string variable, dot, capitalize was the name of the function, and you saw here it didn't take any parameters, so we did not write parameters. Clear? Okay, let's go to the next function. The next function is called the title function. It changes the string to title case. Now what do you mean by title case is every word, the first letter of every word is going to be capitalized, all the other is going to be in lowercase. For example, I have I love mangoes as my string. I will be capital, L will be capital, and M of the mangoes will be capital. Rest everything is going to be converted to small letters. So you see the output there. Clear? Okay. The next function is called the isAlNum function. What does this function do? Now this function is going to be giving me something true or false, depending upon whether the string only contains alphanumeric characters. What do you mean by alphanumeric characters? Whether the string contains only alphabets or digits. If it contains anything else, then it's going to give me false. Another very important thing that I would want to state here is, remember, the capitalize function or the title function, it has not changed the original string, because we know strings are immutable. You can't change the original string. These functions are just giving us a new string, and if you remember in my example, I was storing it into another variable. So remember, string manipulation functions can give us a new string, but it's not altering the original string. Okay, so coming back to isAlNum, if you look at the example here, str1 is all alphabets, str2 is alphabets and digits, str3 is alphabets, digit, and a special character. So the first two strings, that is str1 and str2, when used with isAlNum, will give me true, because it only consists of alphabets or digits or both. But if you look at the third function, str3.isalnum is going to give me the answer false because it has a special character, that's the @ sign. Clear? Okay. Next, we are coming to isAlpha function. IsAlpha function returns the value true if all the alphabets, all the characters in the string are alphabets. That means your string consists of only alphabets and nothing else. Now in this example, str1 dot isAlpha is going to give me true because it only consists of alphabets. str2 is going to give me false because it consists of alphabets and digits. str3 with isAlpha is going to give me false again because it consists of alphabets and a special character. Coming to this function, isDigit is going to be returning true if all the characters in your string are digits. If it consists of anything else, it's going to return false. Something similar to isAlpha, but isAlpha was checking if all were alphabets. IsDigit is going to check if all the characters in your string is going to be a digit. Okay, so I have str1 with alphabets as well as digits, and I have str2 only with digits. So str1 with the function isDigit is going to give me false, whereas str2 with the function isDigit is going to give me true. Clear? Okay. Coming to isLower function. What does this function do? It checks if all the alphabets that you have in the string, are they in lowercase? If it is in lowercase, it returns true, otherwise false. It doesn't mean that everything has to be in only lowercase alphabets are allowed. You may have other characters as well, but the alphabets that you have, they have to be in lowercase. Okay. So if you look at first function str1, it's hello. So it's going to be false because H is capital. If you look at str2, there is happy alphabets, but it's capital. So it's going to be false. If you look at str3, good is in small letters, though it has special character and digits. isLower is only checking if the alphabets present in the string, are they in lowercase. So str3.isLower is going to give me false. Is that clear? Now coming to isUpper. I actually don't need to explain isUpper to you, is because you already know what isLower does. So if isLower is checking if the alphabets are in lowercase, isUpper is going to check if the alphabets are in uppercase. Okay, so str1 has upper and lower, so it's going to be false. str2 has alphabets only in upper, so it's going to be true. And str3 has alphabets in lower, so it's going to be false. Is that clear? Okay. Now isSpace. isSpace is checking whether your string consists of white spaces only. White spaces are the spaces that you get because you pressed the space bar on your keyboard. Okay, so I'm showing you three examples here. I have HE with a white space. I have str2 which is an empty string, no space at all. And I have str3 which is not an empty string. It consists of a single white space. So str1 and str2 are going to return the value false, whereas str3 is going to return true. Remember, there is a difference between empty string and having a space in a string. Many of them think having a space in a string is empty string. No, str2 is an empty string because it doesn't contain any character. str3 is not an empty string because it contains the white space character. Is it clear? Okay. Now coming to function lower. isLower was checking if the string, all the alphabets in the string were lowercase. What does the lower function do? It converts the string to lowercase. So if you have uppercase alphabets, it gets converted to lowercase. So I have hello. If I write str1.lower, hello will be completely in lowercase. Happy 1, 2, 3, str2.lower would have happy in lowercase. 1, 2, 3, obviously there is no lowercase of digits. So digits remain unchanged. Okay, so if lower is converting the string to lowercase, upper function is going to be converting the string to uppercase. Okay, so all lowercase characters will get converted to uppercase. All the other characters remain unchanged. So in the first scenario, str1 already has all capital. So making it upper will remain the same. But in str2, you can see only H is capital. So in str2.upper is going to have HAPPY all in capital, and 123 remains unchanged. Is that clear? Okay. Coming to the next function called find. Now this is for searching for something in a string. Does my string consist of this alphabet or this word or anything? What you're searching for need not be just a character. It could even be a word. So let me just explain to you what all these mean. This talks about, now all this while all your functions did not take any parameters, right? Okay, this talks about what are you searching for. This talks about from which index location do you want to search. And this talks about at which index location -1 do you want to stop. So I'm searching for SUB in a particular string from this location to this location. Can you see a square bracket here? The square bracket only implies, you will not be putting the square bracket. It only implies that this is optional. You don't have to write the start and the end. When you don't write the start and the end, it begins from, start is automatically 0 and end is the length of the string, which means it will start searching for the string from the first letter to the last letter. But remember, it's only going to be returning the position of the substring, the first occurrence of the substring. Because if you're searching for O could appear multiple times. So it's not going to be returning all the multiple values. It's going to be returning the first time it comes across O, if O exists, okay? But if O doesn't exist, then this function returns the value -1. Is that clear? Okay, so let me just show you the example here. So if that's the string, hello, welcome to my world, and I'm searching for E. Where do you find E? I find E at 2 places. At index location 1, 4, 5, 6, and at index location 8. But it's going to return 1 because it's searching for the first occurrence. But if I wrote E 5, 10, that means I'm not looking at index location 1. I'm starting at index location 5 and going up to index location 10. Where did I find E? In this scenario, it would return the answer 8. Is that clear? Okay. The index function is also similar to the find function. Value talks about what are you searching for, start talks about from where you want to search, and end talks about where do you want to stop searching. So this is identical to the find function. The only difference here is if you're searching for something that doesn't exist, the find function returns a -1. There is no error. But in the index function, it will show you an error or an exception. Is that clear? Okay, so here also answer I said is going to be the same. In this scenario, it will give me 1. And in the other scenario, when I'm searching from 5 to 9, 10 is the number at end, but we don't go till end, 1 less than end, it will show me 8. Is that clear? Okay. Then coming to the count function. Let me just clear my annotations because my annotations are, or let it remain there. It's almost similar, right? Let my annotations, or clear it. Okay. Okay. Count function is also having the same 3 parameters that find and index had, but index and find were only checking whether this value that you're searching for exists and tells you at which index location. What would count do? Obviously, the name itself tells you. Counts how many times this particular value appears in the string. You may or may not specify the start and the end. So in this scenario, if I write, I love apples, apple is my favorite fruit. And if I said count apple, now remember, it's not looking for a word apple, it's searching for something which says A-P-P-L-E. In this scenario, answer is going to be 2. X is going to be getting the number of times the word apple exists, and the word apple exists 2 times. Now some students ask me, but isn't one of them apples, ma'am? Yes, but in your string, you just said A-P-P-L-E. Is A-P-P-L-E found in the word apples? Yes, so that is also counted. But then what if you had to count just the word apple? Then in that scenario, you know what you could do? Give a space before A and give a space after E. which means what? I'm looking or locating a word called apple. Not, now for example, apple pie. If the word is apple pie, it could get chosen here. If the word was pineapple, it would still get chosen here because APPLE exists. But if you're looking for just the word, not pineapple, not apple pie, but just the word apple, then what you could probably do is in the count function, before you write the word A or the word apple, just leave a space before A and leave one more space after E. So in that scenario, what am I searching for? I'm searching for something which is a space, apple, space, which means a word which is apple. Clear? Okay. Here also, you could give the start and the end value. In the previous case, it gives me output as 2. But if I say 14 to 24, it will not count the first apple because that first apple comes before index location 14. So then in this scenario, from 14 to 23, the word APPLE or the substring, I don't need to say the word, the substring APPLE appears only once. Okay. So the parameter of find, index, count are all the same. Find and index, search for something. Count is searching for something and telling you how many times that thing appears in the string. Okay. Yes. Now we're coming to another function called replace. Now let me tell you one thing again. This function is going to replace some old value with some new value. But remember, it's not altering the original string. It's just returning a new string with the replaced value. Okay. So suppose, I hope you have seen this, or learned this nursery rhyme when you were small. 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns. Okay. Now what if I want to replace penny with paise? Okay. I'm coming to the Indian system. So I write txt.replace penny, comma, paise. Then what happens? What does X get? Now X is what is going to get the new string. So remember, your txt hasn't changed. You are just returning a new string which is stored in X. And now when I say print X, it will say 1 a paise, 2 a paise, hot cross buns. Is that clear? Now again here, children, if you see the word penny anywhere, suppose the word was penniless, it will become paiseless. So it's not searching for a word penny, substring penny. Okay, I told you what to do. I mean, put a space before P and put a space after P if you're searching for a specific word, not a substring. Clear? Okay. Now coming to a function called split. Now what does the split function do? The split function splits your strings. So if your string consists of 10 words, it can split the words of your string if you don't specify the separator and the max split, or it can split based on the criteria that you have given. Means what? Let me just show you an example and let me get my annotation ready. Okay. Now, in this scenario, welcome to Python programming. I've just said txt.split, which means I have not specified the separator and I have not specified the max split. So in that scenario, what happens? The separator is a space. And this split function creates a list. Now we know in Python, a list is represented by square brackets. So everything that you're going to write is going to be within this square bracket. How does it create a list? It separates or splits the string based on the separator, which is by default a space. So the first element of your list is going to be welcome, comma. The second element of your list is going to be to, comma. The third element of your list is going to be Python. And the fourth element of your list is going to be programming. Okay, so only thing is, and all this is going to be a part of a list. That is the reason I've shown all these words in a square bracket. Is that clear? So it is dividing the string. It is dividing the string into words, I could say. So any question which expects you to, look at words, it is dividing the string into different words and placing it in a list. So the first element of the list is welcome. Second element of the list is to. So it's divided the whole string word by word. Is that clear? That is because you did not specify the separator. If you specify the separator and if you specify the max split, then what does it do? Then in that scenario, now in this case, I said split O comma 2. The splitting has to be done on the letter O. And you have to split only 2 times. Now, if I look at this string, I have a O here, I have a O here, I have a O here, and I have a O here. So I have 4 O's, but this example tells me to split it only 2 times. Then in that scenario, what is the list going to be? The list is going to be having WELC, that's 1 string. Okay, LC, sorry. Okay, that's going to be my first string, comma, my second string is going to be ME space T. My next string is going to be everything that is remaining. That's O, sorry, I split at O, that's space Python programming. That's going to be my third string, because I said split it only 2 times. So 2 times you come across O, you split. So first when I came across O in COME, I split. Then when I came across O in 2, I split. And then I did not split at all, because max split is given as 2. So remember, when you give max split as 2, how many words will you see in the string is 3, because splitting happened for O 2 times. So obviously you're going to get 3 elements. Clear? So is the split function clear? And normally, you know where to use a split function, whenever they give you a string and you want to look at the string word by word. Normally splitting with other alphabets, and we don't generally do, because can you see the split term is missing? So what's the use of the string without the O, right? But in a space, I don't need a space. I want to look at the word one at a time and do some calculations. I could be making use of the split function. Clear? Okay. Now let's go ahead with the next function. It's called the partition function and the last function. No, remember children, I have been writing the notes of what each function does for each of them, is in case you want to take down notes. So I've written it there and you're not just listening to me, you have your notes ready also. Now what does the partition function do? Partition function divides the string into 3 strings depending upon the value that you have specified in the partition. So it's not like split. Split could divide the string into 4 words, 10 words, 15 words, depending upon what is your splitting factor. Here, partition string will only divide the string into 3 strings or 3 substrings. And it gives you the answer not in a list, but in a tuple. We had learned a list is represented with square brackets, a tuple is represented with round brackets. So let me see or show you an example here. Now in this example, if I want to tell you what the partition did, okay, so now can you see the string is I could eat apples all day, and it says partition using the keyword or the word, not keyword, the word apples. So I get a list. Okay, sorry, I get a tuple. Okay, where the first element of the tuple is all the characters before the word apples appeared. So it could be, it is I could eat space. That's the first string that I get. The second string that I get is the word that is used for partitioning. And what is the word that is used for partitioning? Apples. And the third string that I get is the remaining part of the word. So what is the remaining part of the word? Space all day. So what is happening? You are dividing the whole string based on the value that you have specified. The value that you have specified is always going to be the second string in the tuple. The first string is everything that appears before that value, and the third string is going to be everything that appears after that value. Now, suppose you partition on a word that doesn't exist. Then the first string is going to be the entire string as it is. The second and the third string in the tuple are going to be empty strings because you did not have that word. Secondly, you did not have anything after that word. So the second and the third string is going to be empty. Is that clear? So I hope all these functions are clear to you. In the next video, we will make use of some of these functions to do some programs, okay? And all these functions or methods belong to a class called str. And how did we call these methods? How are we accessing these methods? We were writing the variable, that the string variable, dot the method name, and if the method requires parameters, then we specify the parameters. Clear? Okay. Okay. Thank you.